Praise the Lord, everybody. This is Sister Pacheco, and I'm so glad that you're with us today. And today we're going to bring you a Puerto Rican dish. But before we start cooking, I like to relax myself. And by this, I like to have and enjoy a limonada, which is made from key limes. And, you know, I went to Atlanta a couple years ago and they served me one, but they added some sazon. What is sazon? It's a spice that makes something better. So they served me this lemonade with some tajin. And tajin is placed on the rim of the glass. You put lime around it and then you dip it in the tajin, add your ice and your limeade. And I make mine with key limes. And it is so refreshing. The best lemonade you've ever tried. Go and find your tajin at your supermarket, and believe you me, you can make your waters, the lemonade, the mango water, any type of fresh fruit water that you want to try with the tajin. I wanted to share a scripture that the Lord gave me, and it's in Psalms 34:8. It says, "Taste and see that the Lord is good." As much as I gave headaches to the person who was winning me to the Lord, after 8 years of her persistently inviting me to go to church, when I first came to the Lord, I tasted and I saw that God was good and has been good. So now I want to start sharing these recipes that I've had the privilege to cook for a lot of people. I've started cooking even way back as a new convert. We used to do the missions conference at Life Tabernacle, and our church was in charge of cooking for all the missionaries. So I can say that I've been cooking and serving the men of God and just being a servant. So today, the ingredient that I want to share with you that has been the key success of my cooking is the love ingredient. When you do it out of love. So today we're going to start with the basic foundation of the Puerto Rican dish. And this condiment is called sofrito. Now sofrito is made with 4 ingredients, okay? And it's kind of like a paste that you can make, and you add it to beans, you add it to your rices, to anything you're cooking that is Puerto Rican style, okay? So the first ingredients that we're gonna use, and I had washed all these ingredients beforehand, and we put it in a food processor. You take the bunch of cilantro, and you can just layer it, okay? Your cilantro, a bunch of cilantro, okay? You put it in there, the cilantro, and we're gonna add chunks or pieces of bell pepper. Our bell pepper, also already washed, and I cut into large pieces since it's gonna be in the food processor, chopped up. Okay, and we're gonna add all the bell peppers. And what it is, it's 2 bell peppers, okay? 1 bunch of cilantro and 2 bell peppers. Okay, we're gonna put our lid on it. And then we will chop it down a little bit. Next, you're gonna add, I would say between, maybe about, eyeballing it, about 15 cloves of garlic, okay? And I love these garlics. Oh my God, they're the best invention ever. You find them at Walmart, they're already pre-peeled, and believe you me, I buy the 2 bags and put them in my fridge. So we're gonna add the garlic, fresh garlic, okay? And again, okay, and then we're gonna take a full onion, about this size, and you can also chop it into big chunks. Okay, We're gonna add it to our sofrito. Okay, and also you're gonna add a tablespoon of dried oregano. Dried oregano. Okay, dried oregano. And we're gonna add 2 little packets of the sazon Goya. Okay, you add it on there. Okay, and we added our garlic. And you can add about a tablespoon of olive oil. Okay, a tablespoon of olive oil. And then again, you're going to puree it. Okay. And once you've done that, this is the final product. If you can see, the consistency is a little thick, but this is the basic ingredient that you put in rice when you're cooking beans, when you're cooking a stew, a Puerto Rican dish. This is what you use. And I will show you in a few minutes how we add it to our arroz con pollo, our chicken with rice that we're gonna do. But this ingredient, you can store it. Usually what I like to do is I use the amount that I'm gonna use in the different dishes, and I put them in a Ziploc bag and I freeze it. So, you know, once it's frozen, it can last you a week, 2 weeks, but after that, I'd rather make some fresh one. But this is the sofrito, okay? I hope you enjoyed this recipe. This is a basic one for all Puerto Rican dishes. Okay, now that we're done making the sofrito, now we're gonna get to the main dish, okay? And the main dish is arroz con pollo, which is chicken and rice, okay? And the rice and chicken, you use 2 bell peppers as well. Use the red and use the green one. You know, the red is basically to give it a little bit of color because it's appealing to the eye when a dish looks good. So what I do is I chop it up real tiny chunks. Okay, put in tiny chunks. I started making, chopping some, and we're gonna continue. Just make sure that your bell peppers are chopped in small pieces. Okay. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy cooking for my kids. I like to have that hospitality spirit. In this quarantine time, I've fed a lot of my neighbors. I've made breads, I've taken them dishes, and one of my neighbors told me that she's gonna put me on her income tax as a dependent because I've been feeding her so much. But I truly enjoy what I do. I've been cooking, like I said, for a long time, and even in the school where I worked. You know, I just recently retired last year, and I worked at that school for 27 years. And our school was an at-risk school. We worked with a lot of families that, you know, had problems and issues, but, you know, always, you know, was there to help them and visit their homes at times when their kids wouldn't show up for school. And last year, before I left, the kids knew that I was leaving, and I told them, I said, you know what, I'm gonna cook for you all one day. So what I did is I cooked for all the teams. I cooked for the football team. On another occasion, I cooked for the soccer team. And on another occasion, I cooked for the basketball team. And, you know, I would cook the day before, or I'd get up early in the morning and cook them a full meal. And, you know, sometimes these kids was the only meal that they would have. They knew that Miss Pacheco always had something, some snack in her office, and they would always swing by and, hey, Miss, you got something I can eat? So, you know, it's beautiful when you share what God has so graciously given to you. Okay, so now that we have all our bell peppers chopped, we're going to stir fry. I call it stir fry because I don't know what the proper word is. But this is half a packet of salt pork, also chopped up into pieces. Okay, so we're gonna put this in our pan, and if you follow me a little bit closer, okay. This is our pan that we're gonna use, and just throw in just a little bit of oil. Just a little bit of oil, and then we're gonna throw in our salt pork cubes, okay? There we go. And we're gonna cook this, okay? Let it cook. This is the first thing that you do. And this salt pork, you know, you might want to say, why does this have to go in the rice? Well, it gives it a very good flavor. It gives it a lot of flavor. I remember one time I made it, but I didn't have the salt pork. I said, no, I'm not gonna go to the store. I was just being a little lazy. But when I made it, oh my God, it was nothing like the flavor when you cook it with the salt pork. So just use half of the cube. And the salt pork is found in the, where the bacon area is, all those meats, the bacon, ham and all that, that's where it's found. It's a little cube about that big, and I just used half, okay? So we're gonna let it stir fry a little bit, and that's giving it some flavor. I have a couple of scriptures on the wall that these scriptures have been very meaningful to me. And the other scripture is in Matthew. If Vicki will help me read, because my eyes are really bad, even though I'm here, I can't see it.
Matthew 5:13, you are the salt of the earth.
We are the salt of the earth. And, you know, we are the ones that give flavor out there in our communities, showing God's grace and, you know, mercies. His mercies are new every morning. So who are we not to share? And, you know, I was thinking about that, you know, we are the salt of the earth. And at this time, in this quarantine time, there are so many people out there that are needing needing a word of hope. And it's our duty to share that. I went to Walmart the other day, and I found this gentleman outside. And he approached me and asked me, he says, do you know what part of town we live in? And I said, yes, we live on the east side. And I go, where are you coming from? And he says, I've been traveling from Mexico in Durango since February. And I'm trying to reach Dallas, where I have a job already in line for me, but I haven't been able to get there. And this gentleman, a friend of his, was supposed to come pick him up, but he had been waiting there for 3 hours. So I gave him a couple of dollars so he can buy some food. And then when my daughter picked me up, you know, I was just really burdened down to see that, you know, he'd been waiting there 3 hours. So he was waiting for his friend to take him to the bus to take a bus to Dallas. So he didn't have any money. So, you know, I went and pulled out some money and gave him his bus fare so he could go on. And so, see, people, there's a lot of need out there. And the best way for us women is cooking meals, baking, cookies, cakes, puddings, whatever. Okay, so now this is done. Now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna turn it off a little bit and let it cook a little bit while we're there. And we're gonna chop some onions that we're gonna add in here. And what I did is I took half an onion, already cut it into chunks, and about 4 cloves of garlic. As you can see, we do it with a lot of garlic. Okay, and this is one of my best little apparatus kitchen tools that I love because it's my little ninja chopper. Okay. That way you don't have to be chopping and chopping and chopping. It instantly does it for you. Pull out the little blade. And now we're gonna add the onion and the garlic to our pork, to our salt pork. Okay. We throw it in there, stir fry. Okay, stir fry it. Okay, and then we are going to take our half a cup of the sofrito. Remember the one we made in the food processor? You throw it in there. Okay, and with that you also throw in your bell peppers. Okay. Okay, and now that it's stir fried quite a bit, now we're gonna add our can of tomato sauce. Okay, can of tomato sauce, a small can. Okay, and like I said, there is an ingredient also that I love to cook with, and it gives so much flavor, and it's our Knorr chicken, our chicken Knorr base. And you add a tablespoon of that, sprinkle it in. Okay. Okay. Stir it some more. And we drop in also. This is some pimentos. I already drained all the waters from it, but you add your chopped pimentos in there. Okay. There we go. Okay, let it cook, let it stir, let it cook. Okay. Then you're gonna take some bay leaves. Okay. I use 2 bay leaves. Okay, and I throw them in there big because at the end, all I want is the flavor from them. Before I serve it, I pull out the leaves. But you throw in your bay leaves and let them cook. It gives it a very good flavor. Okay, so just let it cook, let it cook. Okay, we have our chicken there, but I'm letting this cook a little bit more. Okay, let it cook. And we're just gonna let it cook for a little bit longer. Okay, once we add the bay leaves, then you're gonna take some chopped olives with the pimentos as well. You can find them already chopped, or you can add the whole olives. The olives also gave it a great flavor. Okay. Oh, I forgot the black pepper. You know, like I have a teaspoon of black pepper. Okay. Okay. So yes, we did not add salt. We used the chicken base, which is, it's got the saltiness in it. Okay. And it's already kind of boiling. As you can see the bubbles. Now we're gonna add our 2 cups of long grain rice. Okay. I like the jasmine rice, but now with the quarantine, it's hard to get a hold of. So I'm just using 2 cups of long grain white rice. And I washed it, I rinsed it, and now I'm gonna add the rice to it. The 2 cups of rice. Okay. There we go. Stir it to incorporate all the rice with the sauce of the tomato sauce and all the goodness. Oh, if you could smell the aromas that are coming from this I was making it not too long ago, and my neighbor came to give me a letter that came to her mailbox by mistake. And as soon as she walked into the door, she was like, oh my God, what are those smells? And then what you're gonna do is add some chicken broth. When you're cooking your chicken, I forgot to mention that. When you're cooking your chicken, you know, choose the meat, white or dark meat that you want to use for your chicken. And what I do is I put it in a pot to cook. I add a whole onion and chopped up onion, and then I throw in like 5 garlics again, and I use chicken base to salt it. So I do that, and then I let it cook. And I like to have a lot of broth. I like to have a lot of broth because whatever's left over, you know, I use what I'm gonna use for the rice, but then I like to cool it and then store it in Ziploc bags and throw them in the freezer. That way when you need chicken base, a broth, you already have it done. So now we're gonna add the chicken. It's about 2 cups of chicken, deboned chicken, okay? And usually when you're cooking rice by itself, they say it's a cup of rice for a cup of water, but you don't want your rice to come out mushy. I like it to come out pretty, and you know, when you serve it, it looks beautiful. It's not all sticky and mushy. But because all these ingredients have moisture, I don't use, you know, to the 2 cups of rice, I don't use, you know, I don't use 2 cups of water, the water per cup of rice, because then it will get mushy, okay? So as you can see, this is our final product. I like to add sazon to it. I forgot to add the sazon. I have my little sazons here. Oh, here they are. Okay, I like to add 2 additional packets of sazon. Not only does it give it flavor, but it gives it color. Okay. It gives it color. Okay, stir it in, stir it in, stir it in. Okay. I am gonna add a little bit more water, if you excuse me, a little bit. I'm gonna add a 1/4 cup of more water. Okay. And I'm gonna use water because I ran out of the chicken broth. Okay. And now, voila, Puerto Rican arroz con pollo. You let it come to a boil, and then we're gonna cover it for about 15 minutes. Once it starts boiling, or you know, then you lower the temperature, and then you cover it for 15 minutes, okay? You cover it for 15 minutes. Don't open it, just, you know, just check it to make sure that it's not really kind of a little bit open it, and that it's not too dry. And just add just a tab of water, but let it cook for 15 minutes. And then after that, just open it and flip it over and put the top, and then you can turn it off. Okay, okay, so now we have our arroz con pollo cooking. So while that is cooking, now we're gonna go into the next part of the meal, which is the tostones. Some countries call it patacon. The tostones, when the plantain, I usually like it about this ripe. Okay, you can make a tostón that is really good. If it gets more riper, then when you cook it, you fry it as well, but you don't cut it like little circles. You cut it lengthwise, and they're called tajadas o plátanos, rebanadas de plátano maduro, which means that they are ripe and they're really good. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna cut the edges. Okay, cut the edges. Okay, and then you do a cut in the middle to peel it. Now, when the plantain is much greener, you can still cook it, but peeling it is harder. I learned through YouTube, thank God for YouTube these days, if you are cooking with a green plantain, you can make some very crunchy tostones. But peeling it takes a little bit of more practice. And what I've seen is you can put it in the microwave when it's really green, put it in the microwave for about 10 seconds. And then when you cut the edges and then do the line, the peel comes out faster. Okay, but we're gonna do tostones. So what I do is I cut them kind of at a diagonal and a little bit thick. Okay, because the reason I like them a little bit thick, because they are much tastier. Okay, and in Puerto Rico, they have this little press made of wood, and it's called a tostonera, to make tostones. But they're hard to find. And I had one that my mother-in-law had given me many, many years ago, but it wore out and it broke. So since I don't have access to it, you know, sometimes you gotta improvise. You know, we improvise all the time. So what I'm doing, okay, is I am going to flatten these and put them in between this sheet of aluminum foil. And with my cutting board, I'm gonna smash it. Okay. Okay, as you can see, beautiful. Okay, here goes another one. Okay. And these plantains, when you fry them, oh, this one broke a little bit. When you fry them, they are so amazing. I'm gonna go ahead and put these to fry if you follow me. I put a little bit of oil and throw them in there. Make sure my flame is at medium and you let them cook, okay? Now let me use this one over here. Okay. And the reason I changed it is because I'm gonna show you another trick. Okay. Here goes another one. Fry it back in. And now we're gonna flip these over. You know, you see the colors? Very good. Now these, we're gonna take these out a little bit, and what we do with these, once you take them out, you put them in your frying on your aluminum paper to keep them a little bit more okay. You cover these up. The reason we cover them up is because we want them to kind of soften a little bit more, and then we give it another squeeze. Okay, now I'm going to show you with this one. Okay, with this one, I'm not going to press it. I'm going to throw it in like that and let it cook. Okay. Okay, turn it, flip it over to the other side. I'm gonna put this one with these others over here so it can get a little softer. I'm gonna add my other two without pressing. Okay, because plantain, when you're making tostones, you can use it. It's kind of like a French fry. It's much flavorful than the French fry. I love these. These are so much better. I'm not too crazy a fanatic of potato because to me a potato is so bland. And these plantains, when they're fried, oh my God, they are really good. But you can also, when you're squishing them, you can use, they have another type of tostonera that has a little ball that when you squeeze, it makes them into little cups. So when you make them into little cups, you also fry after they're soft. You fry the little cups, and when they come out, let them drain, and then you can make like, let's say you want to do a ground meat filling. You can make chicken filling. You can make shrimp filling, whichever way you want to cook it, and serve it on the cup of plantain. And my God, those are so delicious. And you can make them as an hors d'oeuvre, or you can make a couple of them, let's say 2 or 3 per serving. And it depends how big they come out. And serve it with, your rice or a salad or, whichever way you want to. Okay, and since we're letting these cook a little bit, let's look at our rice. Let's take a look at our rice and see how it's coming. Okay, I think we can flip it. You hear it sizzling because it's probably getting a little hot. But let me tell you the best part of the rice when you're making Puerto Rican rice and everybody fights for. Yes, people fight for this part. They like to cook their rice, and at times, it kind of gets a little toasty, the bottom part of the rice. Let's lower it a little bit more and let it cook another 5 more minutes, and then we turn it off. But when the rice in the bottom gets a little toasty, they call it pegadito. And that pegadito is the part that everybody fights for. And when you're scraping the pot at the end, you scrape the pegadito, and they even take the pegadito and they roll it into little balls and they serve it. And people always say, ay, dame del que pegadito, give me some of the pegadito. And it is really good. Okay, so now we're almost done with these, and we're also going to put them. Okay, so we pulled out the plantains, and I'm taking the ones that we had squished before, and then you can see they're a little bit softer. Okay, we're gonna bring them over here, and we're gonna squeeze them down just a little bit more. Okay, they're soft already, but we're gonna squeeze them a little bit more. Okay, take her and squeeze them just a bit more. Okay. Okay, and then we're gonna put them back to cook a little bit longer. Get them a little bit more toasty. Okay. Okay. So now that these are a little more toasty now, then we're going to pull them out. Okay, pull them out and let them. And now we are gonna try something different. Okay, let me cut this piece of paper, this aluminum, a little bit more. Now we're learning as we're going, okay? But I wanted to show you this method of doing the little cup, okay? And what you do is you take the banana, throw it in there, and then we're gonna cut another piece. Now, if the banana's a little bit more not so ripe, it'll work really, really well. Okay, and you squeeze it. You can do it with a lemon squeezer. Okay, lemon squeezer. Okay, Then you take it out. See, you can form your little cup. You can form your little cups and put it in the frying pan. We're just gonna do one. Okay. Okay. And it's just a different presentation of cooking with plantains. Okay. Put it in there and let it cook a little bit. Okay. And while we're cooking that for a moment, I wanted to take you back to one of my favorite scriptures. And that scripture is Romans, Vicky?
8:28, called according to his purpose.
You know, when we started the lesson, we were talking about the lemonade. And I always heard that saying that if life gives you lemons, make your lemonade. And I'm so glad that I ran into that saying in my beginning of my journey as a single mom, having to raise my two daughters, 5 and 10. At that time, they were 5 and 10. And, you know, when I came to this journey of one day coming to the realization that, you know, I didn't have my companion working side by side with me anymore, you know, I decided I wanted to do something with my children. I wanted my home life to be, you know, something that my girls can say, this is home. This is home. So we're down to our last toston. And we're going to smash it. Okay. Now these tostones, when you use them, when you use the plantain that's a little bit more, not so ripe, or green as you might want to say, you can make them thicker. And when you cook them, they're a little bit more thicker. You can even slice the toston and also fill it in with meat. So you can use a toston, make them in the form of a cup, put them in a, you know, if you don't, try a lemon squeezer. I've done that. You make your little cups and then you fry them. So that's the last one. While it's cooking, we're going to refer to another scripture, which is up here. Vicky, can you read it for me?
Philippians 4:11, learn to be content whatever the circumstances.
You know, and that's very hard, especially for women. We always want more. We're always thinking, we're anxiety and all these things. You know, sisters, I'm going to tell you something. You know, when I became a single mom, my girls were 5 and 10. And, you know, I decided that I wanted my daughters to remember their childhood days living in a Christian home. We didn't have the best of circumstances. You know, I was basically, you know, trying to feed 2 children with a very low income. But, you know, I decided that the joy of the Lord was my strength. And whatever circumstance came my way, I learned to be content in everything that I had. And to this day, I retired last year, you know, and now I'm a stay-home mom. You know, I'm involved in my ministry at church, very busy. I cook, I love to cook. I've gained a couple of pounds. I know the doctors can get mad at me when we go back to normalcy, if there is such a word. But you know, through those years, I've always had my house open for people that come and eat, and a lot of people have savored my food. I was always the cook for the PKs. I had 3 sets of PKs that I've cooked for, and I guess I can honestly say that I've even cooked for Brother Tyler's and Brother Curly's family. I love to cook for them. And that's why I guess they know how much I love to cook, that they invited me to do this session. And I'm very blessed. I feel so blessed to be sharing this with you. Because like I said, my best ingredient is I cook out of love. And I don't have fancy pots and pans. I remember telling Vicky, I want to go get some pots and pans. And then I said, you know what? No. They invited me to share the most intimate part of my home. And so I bring to you my simple dishes, and the flavoring comes from the heart. So my daughters have always been there with me through thick and thin, and they all my kids, are living for God. And really, that's the best reward that I can receive. And breaking bread is the way I was taught in my new convert days. I remember the first time visiting the church, a sister came and asked me if we would like to go eat lunch at their house. And to me it was like, wow, this family invited us to their home. And I learned a lot from that. I learned that when you share of what God has blessed you with, God is going to provide for your need. And God has always provided for us. I've retired now, get my little pension. Both my daughters, one of my daughters works at the school as a teacher. Vicky's finishing up her graduate program as a music therapist. My grandkids are working in the ministry. So tell me, sisters, learn to be content in whatever circumstance. God is good. We're blessed beyond measure. And in all this, sisters, I want to say that it has been an honor to be here with you and share. I'm not a chef, but I'm a cook, down home cooking, simple recipes, but the love that goes in my recipes is what makes it great. And now we're gonna show you the finished product, okay? I plated the dish, and to make it look pretty, you can get a bowl and put your rice, flip it over, put your cilantro or parsley, whatever it is that you want to decorate it with, and you can add your plantains. You can serve this dish with a salad on the side, your favorite salad, and it is so good. I really wish that you guys were here. We might not be here in person, but we're here in spirit. And today I'm a little choked up and a little emotional because this plate was my mom's, one of her simple china plates. And today marks the day my mom passed away. I remember that day, my daughter and I were invited to go speak in our children's ministry to the North Texas District children's event. And we traveled to Tyler. And as we were driving, my mom had been ill. She'd been in the hospital, but she always would tell me, sweetheart, go and do the work of the Lord. Go. I am here. I'm fine. She'd been battling for some time now. And but she gave me her blessing. And I knew I didn't want to go, but she was like, Lucy, you need to go and take care of God's business. And I said, okay, Mom, she says, I'm gonna be okay. So Vicky and I traveled with my grandson, CJ. I like to take my grandkids at times with us because I want them to learn about ministry. And we were heading out. We were arriving at Lufkin when we received the call that my mom had complications and that they were gonna remove the respirator or the life support system. And the doctor was foreseeing a couple, the next day of her finally, passing on. So I was wanting to head back, and my sister said, no, Lucy, Mom told me to tell you to continue. Go do the work of the Lord. But Vicky knew that she wanted to be at her grandma's side. So we stopped at the mall in Lufkin and I dropped her off. I called my son-in-law and told him to go pick her up. My grandson and I traveled to Tyler, Texas, and we were, arrived, and that evening we started the Sunday school conference in Tyler. And a lot of people had already made plans and were traveling and had made hotel accommodations. So I prayed and I said, Lord, I put my mom in your hands. Allow me to finish this event and let me drive back so I can see my mom. So we did the conference. People didn't know what was going on. I didn't tell anybody. I just trusted the Lord. And we had an amazing, amazing conference, an amazing move of God. The following day, we got up, we, started working in the conference. And I remember when we went to lunch, the superintendent of that, director of that region, took us out to eat. We were eating lunch to head back for the final session to close the event. That's when I received a call that my mom had passed away. So I told the director, and everybody, the whole conference wanted me to quit and drive back. And I told them, I said, you know what, my mom's already gone. It was her desire for me to continue this event. So in her honor, I'm going to finish this conference. And I did. Everything works for good for those that love God, for all that are called according to his purpose. And I believe God called me to work in the ministry. I'm retired now. I'm having issues with my eyes. But even though my eyes are limited in vision, I cook, I do things, we do training, we do whatever we do, we're always busy. So sisters, cooking is an amazing way to reach, to fill the souls, not only with physical food, but with spiritual food. So when you invite people to your home, you're breaking bread, and that is a blessing. So during this time of quarantine, you're home, and you're doing, as much as you can. Teach the children, hey, let's bake cookies. I am so sorry, I'm such an emotional and a crybaby. A lot of people know me as a crybaby. But, teach your children, bake with them. Let's make little goodie bags, take them to your neighbors. When you go out, when you encounter someone, hand them a little bag of goodies, anything. And it's been a blessing for me to be in this session of Sazon. Give your life some spice. Again, if life throws you lemons, make your lemonade and put a little bit of tahini in there. It is phenomenal. God bless you, and may this video bless your life. And I pray in Jesus' name that something is stirred within you to use what God gave you. God told Moses, what is it that you have in your hands? So sisters, if it's a spoon, if it's a measuring cup, if it's a kitchen towel that not only works as a kitchen towel, but as my little handkerchief for my tears and stuff. I love you, and I pray blessings upon your life. In Jesus' name. This is Sister Pacheco.